Welcome back, everybody, for what is now top 4. One more to go to make the final for these guys in the Frankfurt Regional Championships. I'm Connor Hayward, and I'm joined again by Benedict Hugo. We've got an interesting kind of matchup coming up. We have Goncalo Pereira, this is on the other side of the bracket, playing the Vika Ray up against Giel. I can't actually read the surname particularly clearly, but Giel, and he's playing. That looks like
Buzzwole Shrine, yeah.
The Buzz stuff kind of deck. So we're in this kind of situation where both of these players are looking to make the final. Both decks could see a lot of success. We do know that originally at the beginning of the format, where the Buzz stuff came from was countering Vika. Vika
so
Ray.
It comes back to the old.
This is basically the regionals in Brazil where a lot of people playing Vika Rayquaza, and some people brought this little Buzzwole, Garbodor, Weeghmans creation along, and it went, okay, well, Vika Volt, that's an ability, Ray's an ability, Lele's an ability.
There are a lot of abilities.
Okay, so I think Weevil's going to be good in this matchup. Also, they mill half their deck. So let's slap a Garbodor in here as well. And Buzzwole's just a good card.
It is.
So let's just see what we can do with these things in this matchup.
Surprisingly, we hadn't had much Rayquaza on stream, but like Goncalo made his list, and he managed to get like to the top 4 out of 520 players. So he definitely knows what he's doing.
Also, actually looking through this list, there are a few interesting conclusions. So we know that the Vika Volt lists are looking to kind of counter these Buzz Shrine decks, which means that they are looking to do things like play non-GX attackers. And I'm looking at this and I'm seeing the word Shaman. And I'm going to guess that's the Revenge Shaman.
I think so, yeah.
There's also 2 copies of Shining Lugia. Again.
In the last game, we saw how good Shining Lugia is against Buzzwole, since it hits the perfect numbers and Buzzwole does not hit the perfect numbers. So I think that's the game plan.
I'm guessing that's what the plan will be, is just go, right, Rayquazas, they look nice. The design of the card is very cool. I also think Rayquaza is one of my favourite Pokemon in terms of design. It's just a cool looking thing.
Fair, yeah.
However, I'm going to just use a shiny pink bird instead in Shining Lugia, and I'm probably going to also throw some Shamans in every now and again to take some knockouts.
Yeah, sure. So, like, trading 1 price attackers for 1 price attackers should, like, make an even price race, so that'd be really interesting to watch.
So looking through Goncalo's list,
there's some interesting
it's actually a really interesting thing. So there's the Stevens Resolve in here. So he's looking to basically, turn 1, he could, and he's playing 0 Lily. So his turn 1 supporter, ideally for him, is not to draw cards, it's just search the ones he needed.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because I don't think Giel is where it got the judge in his
one
list.
judge.
He has 1, so there's a very high chance he gets to keep the card. And in this game, Goncalo is going to need the Stevens Resolve to get set up, because look, there are 2 Volkner in his prize cards of the 3, of his possible 2 Volkner, sorry, which means he hasn't got another way of searching the rare candy or the nest ball.
Yeah.
He has to rely on just using this.
I think that he is prepared for the matchup, Buzzwole, since he also he prepared against Garbodor, since he also played Pokemon Fan Club to minimum his outs for item cards. So he can have a more chill approach to the matchup.
Well, yeah, so I think actually by cutting the Lily, you also kind of improve the way you use your items, because Lily rewards you burning through your hand, which is throwing a load of items in the discard pile, regardless of using their effects or not.
Which pretty much rewards Garbodor.
Yeah, so you'd actually rather see them do something along the lines of, okay, well, I can just search exactly the card I want. Well, I didn't play any items to do that, so this is good.
So Goncalo opens with the Shiny Lugia we were talking about, and with Vika Volt as a support, it's perfectly fine to have it in the active spot. Oh, when we see an immediate pass, 1 Grabbin. Interesting?
Yeah, that's not the ideal situation. Maybe I didn't see if he had things like Ray Candy and Vika Volt or ways to get to those in hands. It might be a case if he's just going, okay, next turn, it's fine. At most, he's doing like a 50 damage chip if he finds the Beast Energy. And you can go up to 70, he gets the DNC. Yeah. Because of the fighting resistance on the Shining Lugia.
Yeah, Shining Lugia can actually take a lot of hits from Buzzwole early on.
Yep. So I can actually see a Vika Vault at least in Goncalo's hand. So maybe he does have the Rayquaza as well.
I think he has Marshadow as well in hand.
And so Giel sets up by establishing the Oranguru, a card that combos really well with the Makago. A lot of these lists are playing, or a lot of the Makagos we've seen this weekend, and this one also includes it.
Yeah.
Because this deck really relies early on having both Beast Energy and Diancie in play, and being able to put the card on top, it's fine.
So yeah, he's just making sure that he has the Slugma early in play, so he has access to everything in his deck pretty much that he needs. So playing the Kukui, hoping for an energy maybe, to just chip some damage on the Shining Lugia to make it a 2-8 KO, or a potential 2 or 3-8 KO. Playing another Nest Ball, probably setting up like maybe another Buzzwole, so... Or Weeghmans.
Well, so this is the interesting thing with the Buzzshrine deck, is that it kind of goes through different phases of the game with different attackers. Early, it's like, okay, cool, we'll start with a Buzzwole, because we need them to deal with that, and that will make them use a load of items. Then we can go into our Trubbish, and sometimes in certain matchups, Weavile can just pop up and take a surprise KO. So it is a really interesting deck of how it exploits stepping from early game to late game, and what your opponent is going to need to do throughout the game to be able to play it.
And like Giel is opted with his list to go for a thicker line of support side Pokemon. Like he has 3 Trubbish instead of like the casual 2-2 line. He has also 2-2 Makago instead of like some people playing 1-1. And he also has, of course, the Sneasel and Weavile, just the 1-1 line. So he had to cut down there.
Yeah, it's kind of intriguing to see if people want to kind of catch the kind of importance of Makago in some of these decks, because sometimes people are like, I can get away without it. You know, if you can draw the cards anyway, you don't need Makago. But a lot of people are also going, but just being able to hit the cards when I need them is super, super important.
It is. So I think Goncalo won't need Shadow in this matchup too much, since Giel is already set up, and it's just like one more ability on this field. So Goncalo will have a lot of abilities due to Weaker Vault and other Pokemon on his bench anyway. So Marshadow would be another one, and that adds up very quickly.
Yeah, this is the thing with both of these decks have the ability to spiral out of control. You know, if you can't deal with them quickly, or like they're set up quickly, you can very quickly, you know, you end up in a situation going, I can't keep up anymore. I think I lose. Goncalo's setup is going to be a little bit slowed down. He's going to find out now when he does a proper deck search. He just drew past last turn. He's going to go for the Lele and look for the Volcaner to get the Rayquaza. And he's going to realise there's none in deck.
Yeah, so then again, he can play Steven's Resolve and Evolve next turn.
Which is not too serious, isn't it, in this matchup, because of the fact that once the Vika Vault is set up, unless Giel decides to like target it down to stop the reattachments of energy, to stop the Aeroforce kind of barrage that is going to come his way, then he's kind of okay. So we see the Shining Lugia at least was one of those. The Rare Candy, I didn't catch what one of those cards was, the middle one. We'll see it hopefully when he adds it to his hand.
But then again, Grubbin is not in the fear of getting knocked out next turn, I guess, since Beast Energy is only 60 when he Guzma's up the Grubbin, and Grubbin has 70, and he's no bench space for the Diancie, so maybe Goncalo can take like 1 or 2 more turns, like just making sure that he has the perfect setup.
Yeah, he gets to kind of establish a board now.
Yeah.
Because this is actually something that a lot of decks can exploit against Buzzshrine, is it's actually kind of slow. Unless against the Diancie and the Beast Energy, its damage output for the first couple of turns is 30.
Yeah.
Which is not going to scare anyone, to be honest.
But it adds up. Sorry.
Yeah, it does gradually build up. But we see Candy, we see Vika Vault.
Another Lugia.
There's an Ultra Ball there as well. And a Cynthia. So he's just going to have to try and hit at least 1 energy this turn, so he can at least attack with it. Argent Wing for 60. He doesn't really need the attack this turn because he knows he can always one-shot with the Aeroforce. But it still wants to get a couple of attachments in. Opting to use the Strong Charge before playing the Cynthia because he doesn't need to draw energy.
Yeah, this is the perfect sequencing.
because he knows he can afford to wait the turn. If he wanted to make sure he got the attack off this turn, he'd be better off Synthering, then doing the strong charge so that he can have more energy in deck to draw into. But this way, he doesn't really care. So
he won't get the knockout anyway. So
exactly. So he's just going to say, I could hit for 60, but I can one shot the Buzzwole anyway, so it doesn't really matter. He draws into it anyway, so if he wants to go for the attack, he can. I think it also see another Grubbin, which he's going to appreciate, because that's just another way of protecting the multiple attachments he wants per turn.
Yeah, so if Giel wants to opt for the pressuring the Vika ward, he has maybe a second one during his next turn, so Goncalo's pretty much set up with 2 Vika Vault in the game.
Yeah, as soon as you get to the point with 2 Vika Vault in these decks, you're just kind of throwing enough energy on quick enough that you're pretty pleased.
It's kind of funny to see like a deck, a base built around Rayquaza, and there's actually none in play since like Lugia's doing all the job.
Yeah, well, even the other lists that I've seen for this, maybe the lists that were slightly less willing to kind of find the Shining Lugia because they're kind of hard to find because they were kind of printed in such small numbers as a promo, they use the Dalmais because that also hits 130, but can't attack the next turn. Whereas with Aeroforce, you can just strong charge it or manually attach back on and go, well, I'm just going to keep declaring 130s and you've got to keep up now.
I mean, we saw how good Shining Lugia is against Buzzwole last game, so...
Yep, even without having to really use any of the psychic attackers, we've saw the Shining Lugia already beat one of these decks once.
So Shining Lugia is a very versatile attacker, and it's just like in decks that accelerate energy very fast, it's just a good addition to it.
And one of the other weird things it has is the Argent Wing attack, so actually hits some super nice numbers on things that a lot of decks play. The Orangaroo and the Diancie both have 120 HP. The Macargo, which is everywhere, it just means that if they if they need to reach a single prize, they can almost always Argent Wing.
Yeah.
So we see another strong charge, grabbing another grass and electric and lightning energy out of the deck.
Like ideally, he could go for. Does he have an energy in hand? So. Or maybe. Oh, he's going for Guzma player.
Yeah, so he's going to Guzma, retreat the Lele, go back into the Argent Wing.
And then dealing 120 to the Argent Wings.
Yep. So
plus 60 if it has an ability.
And this deals with the Macargo, and that's actually a super useful thing to deal with early. Because you're going to have to play into the 4 prize turn. There's no way you can avoid doing that against the Buzz Shrine decks. But what you can do is you can prevent them from finding the beast energy to take the 1-hit knockout. However, Giel did just top that. So
he used Smooth Over last turn. So
okay, so he put it onto Smooth Over to put it there. So he was maybe anticipating that to be the play and finds a way of dealing the damage. This one will be a knockout, I believe. It'd be 160 with the weakness.
Yeah, it is.
Taking out the Vika Vault. And this puts Goncalo in a kind of tricky situation. If he wants to attach and then declare...
he has to find another Vika Vault for the following turns.
Yeah, without having any Vika Vault on board, he is in a kind of tricky situation. Yeah, and again, he did manage to take the Vulcan from prices, so he's going to have to Cynthia and hope to find the Rare Candy and an active Vika Vault. At the very least, an energy here would grab him a knockout.
For this turn, of course.
For this turn. And actually, in a weird way... doesn't play too badly into the Sledgehammer because the beast energy will go. So it means that it's 120, 140 with the Diancie. That's not enough after resistance.
At least he finds the energy, so he's good for the turn, and he has another Grubbin just in case Giel Guzmas it up.
So yeah, here he can just go for the knockout. He doesn't need to play any more items, and instead what he can do is this turn grab the Vulcan from the prize cards as we just saw, and this means he can grab a Rare Candy, get the second Vika Vault in, and knock out whichever threat comes up next.
Yeah. So Giel's debating on whether to promote. Yeah, he's promoting the Buzzwole. So there's a Shrine of Punishment coming down. Not like sometimes you're like, Shrine of Punishment is not doing too much damage, but it adds up like from turn to turn. And Goncalo had to play Tapu Lele at one point in the game, so.
Yeah, and unfortunately having to commit the Tapu Lele means that any Vika Vaults he puts down, you then go up to 2 abilities, and that means things like Kukui can play a role because, and Kukui Diancie means that they can reach a little bit further with some of these attacks.
Indeed.
So, you know, well, not new Digians, of course, because it's for the Weavile. But you know, it means that they can reach further and maybe able to take one-hit knockouts later on in the game. So draws with his Oranguru, grabs a Slugma. Doesn't seem too pleased to see the Slugma.
Yeah, especially since he rescued Stretch at one Slugma out of discard pile.
And it's just a fairly large Sledgehammer for 120. And
don't forget the
ticking over of the Shrine of Punishment. When you test on PTCGO,
it does it for you.
Does it for you, and it's so easy to fit when you're playing it in real, you know, properly. And it's like, oh no, I'm supposed to be keeping track of these things. Something that we'll try and do as well as commentary on commentary in case anything goes wrong. So there is a table judge. So.
And there you see the Faulkner just grabbing the rare candy and the lightning energy. So I assume he has an Ultra Ball in hand for the Vika.
He also has a rescue stretcher, which he could just grab the one that was knocked out earlier on. So I think he's going for that instead. Yeah. So he should be up to, I think, 5 items now in discard if I've counted this right when he plays this rare candy.
Yeah, so now it should be 5. Like 1, 2,
3. 1.
I saw 3, but
it should be 4. Okay, 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have got the dice there as well, but sometimes it's very easy to kind of forget to take a dice over.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure, because this means that the Shining Lugia on the bench, what he can do this turn is he can attach 1 to the benched Lugia, 1 to the active, and this means that he can
attach from hand. So he's
okay. In that case, he can just put both straight onto the benched, because this then means that he only needs to find 1 energy. So
because like he can 60 is a knockout. So due to the 10 from the Rainbow Energy.
Ah, yes, of course. This is the thing, is that these like 10s and things, Buzzwole's like health, HP of being exactly 130 puts it just outside of range for a lot of things, which means that Rainbow just pushes it back into range for a lot of these decks.
Yeah. So he might be attacking, he might be promoting the Garbodor to just secure the knockout for the turn. But he's now out of Sledgehammer turn, so...
Yeah, the Sledgehammer's gone. There's only 2 abilities in play for Goncalo. He's managed this really nicely to prevent any Weavile issues.
Shenanigans, yeah. And
we do see another Trubbish come down, this one with a counter energy, because he's expecting to stay behind for at least another turn, because of the fact that Goncalo took the first knockout. And it's a case of having to find another attacker. The Weavile is prized. I think he's only playing a 1/1 Weavile line.
Yeah, and he's not going to draw into it like immediately, so...
And having to rely entirely on your prize cards and like the sequence you order them in is never ideal.
But then again, he has a very thick Garbodor line, so I think he has to go this way.
Because eventually there will be enough items in Goncalo's discard. There's no way he can keep not playing any items whatsoever.
Right. And he will take the knockout this turn, guaranteed, so...
Yeah, no matter how much damage. The Shining Lugia does only have 10 HP left. And we see the Trash Lunch for 80, and that takes the knockout. It just goes to show that, you know, sometimes setting up KOs is super important. Kind of getting any damage in you can to make finishing off the game easier later on. Goncalo will have to be careful of eventually running out of energy. He does only discard 1 at a time from the Aeroforce, but each KO that Giel takes is dumping another 3 in at the moment.
Yeah, so also make sure... There we see the Shaman.
Can we get the Shaman up on so we can see it as well? Because I would also have to do what Giel's done of having to have a read.
The thing is, Goncalo has to make sure that he has follow-up attack up. Since he only plays 2 Rescue Searcher, already used 1, and just playing 2 Shining Lugia, already like won the discard pile, so he has to keep up with Giel like for the long run. Yeah,
so here we can see him set up for the rally back. He might put both of these energies onto the Shaman to basically say, look, as soon as you take whatever you take a knockout with, it has to have more than 120 HP.
Otherwise, I take the knockout.
Because I'm just going to knock it straight back out again.
Yeah.
Shaman does only have 70 HP itself, so it's a very soft target, but it's not so much of an issue because it will almost certainly be taking a prize in this matchup.
Yeah. So it's deciding to attack, yeah.
Yep. And just takes the KO.
2 prizes. So... might come down to either if Goncalo runs out of energy and Giel can take over the board, or Goncalo just streams more energy and just takes the last 2 prizes.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting way of kind of going, how does Giel come back into this? He knows that there's not that many items in the discard. He can't be one-hit knocking out, take any one-hit knockouts. He can deal with the Bushaymin, but that's no good because that just means Goncalo just keeps taking KOs with the Lugia. And the Lugia is going to take at least another prize card. It's going to take at least another turn to knock it out entirely.
It's a tough spot for Giel right now.
So he's going to have to start digging, and he's going to do so with Acrobike. A card that I think a lot of players are really pleased to see back in the format.
Yeah.
Because with so many discard supporters having left, we're losing the Sycamore. This just means that if you do need things in discard, you can combo with your Acrobike, and it just helps you dig through a deck slightly
Especially
quicker.
with Makago in the format, and Makago being really relevant, you need to have outs to just take the top card of a deck. So Acrobike is really handy in this. Right?
And it's, I think, one of the only non-Pokemon or supporter. It's like the only item draw we really have.
Yeah.
And being able to do that, which means that if you use, you can use the Acrobike, that gives you the luxury of stacking your supporter for the turn. If you need it, if you need a Guzma, you kind of want to be getting through to that. Or if you can do it with your Angaroo, but that means that you probably have a very small hand, and that's not ideal. So, having to deal with the threat of the Shaymin, like that 70 HP rally back, taking one-hit knockouts is something that Giel really wants to avoid in this matchup. So Goncalo's like, that's fine. I've kept my Shining Lugia. That's really what I wanted to be attacking with here.
Yeah, right. I think they've forgot the...
Yeah, I think they've missed the turn of Shrine damage. They're one turn of Shrine damage behind, I believe. Hopefully they catch that. The table judge is there, so ideally he will see it.
So it looks like he has plenty of energy left in his deck.
Well, he definitely will, because I think he's taken a energy recycler.
Yeah.
So he played the Volcaner for the energy recycler, and he also took the time to grab the 2 energy back out again with Vika Volt.
Yeah.
One of these at least is going to the Lugia. One on the Vika Volt, because this means that with the 3 retreat costs, it's not going to get stuck in the active if you can't find the Guzma. You can attach to itself and put itself back out of the way. You could even attack with it for the last prize. It does do 150. That guarantees a knockout.
So I'm pretty sure, like, at this point, they missed like one turn of Shrine of Management.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
The thing is, like, Goncalo could play the energy recycler, but he also, as long as he has some energies in the deck, he isn't forced to do it. So he'd rather not play too many items to make sure that he seals the game.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting way of seeing how they play this out, because Giel needs a way to take this knockout. Because Goncalo doesn't have an attacker after this.
Yeah.
Unless he has an attachment in hand and wants to take the last knockout with the Vika Volt for added style points. I think it's called Zap Cannon or something along those lines, I believe, for 150 discard 2. And we get the Makago back in play for Giel.
Digging deeper?
Well, I think he's going to have to try and thin his hand down to bring it online so he can use the Orangaroo. So there's going to be a really interesting kind of change of pace here.
So the people in the chat are asking for the Pokemon counts from Goncalo, and it's actually for Rayquaza GX.
But you wouldn't know it.
But because he didn't play any. So it's like the typical 3/3 grab on Vika Volt line and the 4 Rayquaza.
Yeah.
2 double-lated GX, and then the 1 Shaymin that we saw, the 2 Lugia, Shiny Lugia, and the 1 Machado with the Let Loose ability.
Well, so that's really interesting because a lot of people have been going for, at the very least, 2 non-GX attackers. He's gone for 3, but he's chosen not to go for the Dalmise or a third copy of Shining Lugia. He's gone, okay, I can actually make a lot of plays with the Shaymin. I like it because it means that he can actually take a knockout on a Lycanroc quite easily. And also 120 is just a really good number.
And it's still only 2 energies committing to your Pokemon instead of like the Shining Lugia 4.
And we see the Guzma on the Makago for the last prize card for the game. Okay. And that's the end of game 1. Goncalo takes that in a really interesting matchup. Like, it shows that these Rayquaza decks originally were so GX focused in terms of their engine and how they attacked. They've actually now moved to a situation where we didn't even know he was playing Rayquaza GX.
Yeah.
We didn't see one.
We saw one the prize.
Yeah, we didn't even see any of the ones from his deck.
We didn't.
He did get, he also managed to really keep good control over his items, which was super useful because it meant that the Garbodor at no point could come online.
Because he's playing a really thick line of Garbodor, so he had Garbodor like pretty much every turn.
Yeah.
But like with 4 items in the discard pile, he's not doing too much.
No, and I think that's something that both of these players will be aware of at this point. Like we said in top 32, or in top 55 today, there's not really many surprise decks in the running. Like everyone is more or less aware of what's there, but they also then have the fact that by now at top 8, you've been around the same table as these guys for a few games,
and you pretty much know also some of the relevant counts.
Yeah, you're gonna know like the key counts that you need to know for any given game at this stage. So I wouldn't be entirely surprised if Goncalo was really aware of the fact that there were a lot of Trubbish and a lot of Garbodors he was going to have to play around.
And then again, his deck with like 1 Steven's Resolve, 2 Volkner, and 2 Pokemon Fan Club, it's really based around like not using many items in the first turn. So
yeah, so he's by not having the Lily and kind of keeping the ball count kind of slightly, well, not lower, but he's managed to minimize how much he needed it. We see them setting up their prizes now. Ready for the second game. Again, plenty of time left in this top 4 game. And we could really see very quick top 8 series where all these games are kind of done in about half an hour each.
Like compared to today's matches and yesterday's matches, they were pretty long, I guess.
So we can get a good look at Goncalo's prize cards. Giel's placed them on the wrong side. He has placed them over... well, not on the wrong side, on the right side if you're playing.
Usually you have them on your playmat, but I think we'll fix that in a second.
Especially because you normally have it on the left side of you on the playmat.
Yeah.
And this is on the right side of you, not on your playmat. So it's very easy to forget that you need to put them down on the prize cam. It's like, yeah, sure. Thank you, guys. A little shake of the head of like, oh yeah, that's the thing that happens here.
Nothing too relevant for both the players.
No, we should see some really interesting games from these guys. They both have access to kind of all the resources they really want to have access to.
I think it often comes down to Goncalo's setup. So if he's able to get Grubbins early on and being able to getting Vika walls in play without using too many items, he should be fine. And yeah, like sometimes Giel with the Buzzwole deck you can just sneak to prizes. Like for example, Guzma Tapu Lele in a certain turn with Sledgehammer as a relevant factor and Shrine of Punishment and all those. But generally Goncalo wants to play like the one prize attackers in this matchup.
Yeah, he's really going to be looking to kind of play it kind of slowish and kind of exploit the fact that Giel can take prize cards out of nowhere. Goncalo wants to not commit too much to get set up. Ideally this turn he doesn't like having to start the Tapu Lele is not good because that's one ability out. And we've seen now that the Weevol's no longer prized in this game. Giel has managed to keep it out of the prize cards. And that means that he does Goncalo is going to have to be careful about exactly how many abilities he plays. And the Lele is already down. So Giel is in a position where he can start doing some pretty big pressure early, especially with the Beast Energy and the DNC already in place. There's an 80 damage Sledgehammer coming down when he's ready to attack.
So that's your first item. I can imagine he's going for Grubbin maybe, or for Shining Lugia. Both of them very important in this matchup.
Yeah, he's going to be in a tricky situation. I think he has note paper there.
Just write down what's prized, or what he thinks is prized.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting to see the players who take notes because
they're not common, right?
Yeah. Even though it's like fully allowed, a lot of players are like, it's fine, I can remember what they were.
And especially in top 4, you have so much time, so just relax.
Yeah.
Take your time. Just make sure you won't misplay, and yeah.
I mean, it's very easy for us, whilst we're sat here, to say, relax and take your time.
Yeah, sure.
We're not playing in top 4 of a regional right now. For these guys, they're probably a little bit more on edge, kind of going, right, I can make the final. We can make this.
Yeah. I mean, imagine being like the champion of the first big regional in Europe after the rotation and like the biggest regional we had in Europe so far.
Yeah, especially for the TCG. Like, this is a huge tournament to win, and it means winning it would be kind of prestigious for both guys.
It would be a really good start in the season.
Well, towards whatever points we need, you want to get to for Worlds. If you're aiming for top 22, winning that first event of the season is perfect because you can get into a position where you can kind of get ahead. I think we're actually going to see a flippity flap from this Shaman this turn.
What a great name. And Giel also like, what does the first attack do again?
So just trying to work out if he wants to do it. So again, Shaman, like the Shaman we saw, the Shaman EX, you will get your 6 hand cards one way or another with a Shaman these days. And we do see a flippity flap, basically a Cynthia in the form of an attack.
Mm-hmm. So this also prevents him from playing too many items.
Yeah, this might be another factor of just like sometimes when I need to dig, I can just promote the Shaman. 70 HP, it's going to get knocked out. I don't really mind too much. But this turn he does know it's safe.
Yeah, pretty safe though.
Well, there's actually no way for Giel to get this Buzzwole active and
knock out the Shaman.
Knock out the Shaman. So,
but knocking out the Graben is really painful for Goncalo, especially since he has only one more in deck, one is prize. So ideally, Giel's game plan would be like Guzming over and over the Grabens, just to the point where Goncalo has no more. So
it was actually a really big deal because he has to keep finding a way to recycle this Grubbin. Pricing just the one Grubbin is actually really inconvenient because if you have 3 in deck, you can almost always find one of them because one might be knocked out, one might be on board, but there's another one you can search. Now he has to hit exactly the rescue stretcher.
Giel is reading again.
He's like, so this one has 120, okay. But weirdly, the Shaman here is actually quite a nice choice because you assume next turn that to take the knockout, Giel's going to have to... he's going to be unlikely to take the knockout because the one with the Beast's energy is already active. So he'd have to attack into the Shaman. But this leaves the Buzzwole active with only 10 HP. Which means that you lose your Beast energy pretty quickly. So there's the Shining Lugia. I don't see another way to get another Grubbin outside of playing the Rescue Stretcher. But doing so would be another item. I mean, just seeing the attack for 120 from Goncalo.
Yeah. So let me see a Kukui.
The Kukui is not useful for taking the knockout because you already definitely take it.
Yeah.
Here, just looking to draw a couple of cards. Finds another Buzzwole.
Ideally, he would have Guzman up the Graben, maybe attach another energy to the Buzzwole on the bench and then retreat or to the Slugma. But unfortunately, he only could play Kukui. Still taking the knockout though, and leading with 2 prizes to none for Giel. And Giel has to also find the rare candy for Vika to keep out in the game.
Yeah, it's a really interesting situation to be in for both players.
Yeah.
You know, Giel needs to keep taking these little knockouts and keeping the pressure on. You know, we're saying he can, like, Buzzwole can sneak...
He top-decked the Vika
So we were talking about Buzzwole being able to sneak 2 prize cards and get into the prize lead. He's done exactly that in this game.
He could strong charge to Tabolele to just get a knockout on this Buzzwole, and the Beast energy is gone then.
Yeah, it's a fantastic series so far.
Or he's going to like prepare Lugia for next turn, but I think he might go for the Tabolele.
Yeah. There's no harm here in doing an energy drive. You know, actually, by doing so, you're out of swing around range because there's the 2 energies already on the bench Buzzwole. And it also means that if he wants to attack with that bench Buzzwole, having already attached 2 energies and taken some damage from that rainbow, attaching another one to attack into this Lele would be a KO in response with the energy drive.
So he might want to do a swing around for next turn with a Buzzwole on the bench. So let's see.
So
because like when Sledgehammer becomes a thing and Giel is able to target down the Vika on the bench, it will be really hard for Goncalo to bring another Vika Vault into play, I guess. Yeah,
because he's already had to, you know, he will have to recycle it again. I don't know how many Rescue Stretcher he's playing, but...
He's playing 2.
He's playing 2, so he could get to the other one, but that would then mean any Shining Lugias that get knocked out.
Yeah.
Gone.
And then again, he has to, like, make sure that he has to go through another turn of evolving, like basic and rare candy and all that stuff. So you have to find the pieces. Beast energy is gone. So let's see if a big swing around could do something. Like it's he has another energy in hand, I think, and he has a Kukui in hand. So
yeah, he'd still need a choice band, I think, to take the KO this turn. I think shrine damage would actually be enough. Try and work it out. 2 swing around heads would put it on 120 base, plus the Diancie and a Kukui, so that's 160. So yeah, Shrine of Punishment would also be enough here to take the knockout.
Or a choice band and one heads.
Yeah, it would be enough to.
Oh, he's choice band.
There we go. So
the question is, does he have the energy here?
I'm not sure, because these Buzzwole Shrine decks do play a fairly low count of energy compared to some other decks. Mostly special energy, which is what we've seen some other decks in this top 8 designed to exploit by knocking them all off and kind of be able to move forward.
So he's bringing the Macago in play. So it seems like he's debating on putting a Lily on top for next turn, maybe. So maybe maybe Giel's Buzzwole is fairly safe for next turn. So depends.
Yeah, he's just trying to work out if he can. He can reach.
Oh,
he has the counter energy, so that's the attachment he needs. It doesn't need to count because the attack cost is fighting colorless. Right now, that counter energy is
double heads from knockout.
So it definitely gets there anyway.
So he's really good setting up. So he at least managed a game plan for the matchup.
Yeah, he's raced into a really early lead and has managed to kind of stick it.
So if he can take out the Vika Vault when Sledgehammer gets a thing, I think that's pretty good for him.
Yeah, he does. So you can see Goncalo's like, okay, I can't KO this.
This is kind of hard to power up a Buzzwole without Beast Ring or without, like, in the past round we had Max Elixir, so there were chances of making a surprise swing around.
Yeah, but so what we could see here actually from Giel is I think he has the Guzma in hand. So I think he's in a position where he can go for the Diancie on the bench, which then means that the Buzzwole actually cannot to KO these Shining Lugias because of the resistances. So we could see him go for the Argent Wing, take the KO on the Diancie, or he could go for the Rally Back from the Shaman, which would leave Giel only on 1 prize card, so it's a risk.
Oh, so does Goncalo has any way to retreat his Lugia right now?
I think he has a Guzma in hand.
Oh yeah,
so he'd be able to Guzma the Diancie. We see it go in here.
He Guzma the Macago.
Yep. And takes the knockout here. I'm not entirely sure. The Macago is helping Giel's game plan, but the Diancie is the reason why Giel can reach any of the knockouts he needs to hit.
Pretty much, the Macago did what it was supposed to do, like last turn, so he's drawing into what he needs anyway. So, kind of interesting decision here to go for the Macago.
Yeah, it's a tricky board state now.
It is.
Giel will really just want to find it. He's got the Guzma in hand, so he could get 2 swing around heads.
The question is, he could Guzma, but does he have the energy?
Because he actually doesn't. No. Actually, what he can do here is he can just Guzma swing around on the Vika Vault.
He could do it anyway since Goncalo's in 4 prizes.
Yeah. No. But he could opt to take the KO on the Vika Vault, right?
Yeah.
Which would allow him to basically prevent the 2 Shining Lugia ever being set up. And the fact that the Shaman has to 2-hit knockout the Buzzwole anyway means that actually doing so kind of buys him a few turns. And this is exactly what we see. Buzzwole can come in, he's on 4 prize cards, which means he can just declare the Sledgehammer, take the knockout, move down to the single prize card remaining. Goncalo taking a big moment to think, to go, okay, right, how do we win this? He's able to take the knockout because of the rainbow on the Buzzwole.
Yeah, so it's 120 again.
But it would mean Giel only needs to see a rainbow energy to take the final knockout. So
I think it's kind of hard to come back from this as Goncalo.
Yeah, you know that there are there's 4 rainbow energy. There's also the the counter energy, but I think he's already used that, right? So that he couldn't use that. And he's also not behind on prizes, so it doesn't matter. But we see a Volkner. Maybe this turn he's actually trying to find a way of setting up some form of Rayquaza.
Maybe, yeah.
Because that's the retreat with that. Use the Rayquaza to take the knockout. But then I think there's already enough items in the discard that the Garbodor would be able to knock out. No, not quite. I think there's only 6 in the discard right now.
Let's go for the Marshadow.
Okay, so it makes Giel less likely to have game in hand. He would need more things.
But still, it's kind of a rough position for Goncalo.
Yeah, now able to take the hand sizes for both players back down to 4.
And Goncalo will take the knockout here, due to Rainbow Energy.
So we're saying that this sharing both attacks have its uses here. He knows that most of these Buzz decks are playing the Rainbow Energy, and it's like their main way of getting things to be able to attack. So Rally Back is able to take knockouts on everything.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's also giving up only 1 prize.
Whilst Flippity Flap is able to kind of set himself up earlier in the game. So now we see an undamaged Buzzwole move into the active position. I don't see either Guzma or Rainbow Energy in that hand. If there were either of those, I'm pretty sure they would have been played pretty quickly, just so they can move on to game 3.
I mean, Giel has some more turns, like to seal out, to close out the game, so it's not in a hurry. So
yeah, though he is at risk of. Goncalo can now start coming back into this. He has got a Shining Lugia on the board with 2 energy. Another attachment, he can do 120 to either the Oranguru or the DNC. And kind of move down to 2 prize cards himself. And, Giel has to find the Rainbow Energy before anything else. So he's like, he does find it there. He has the switch, Rainbow, and there it is. So, really interesting game again. We see the other side of this matchup. Like we said, Buzzwole is able to sneak a couple of early prize cards.
Yeah, it is.
And as a result, kind of just kept just enough in the lead to always be able to kind of control that.
And if you're able to do a big swing around for another 2 prize on the Tabulele, then you're so far ahead that your opponent can't keep up.
Yeah. He managed to push quick enough into a big enough lead that it was kind of too hard for Goncalo to ever come back.
Yeah, it was.
So in this last game, Goncalo, I assume, will be going first. They are now 1-1. And it basically puts this into sudden death, best of 1 effectively now for making the final of the Frankfurt Regional Championships. Both players are shuffling up and getting more or less ready to play. They have a good 35 minutes left on this round by the time they're set up.
So it shouldn't go to time.
Well, we've played the first 2 games in 40 minutes. So if the last game goes more than goes 40 minutes, there's something going pretty wrong. But no, we're likely to see a fairly interesting series again. We've actually been really lucky throughout the tournament with a lot of these games of seeing like one side dominate, the other side dominate, and then like a really interesting 3rd game. So I hope we see something along those lines where they both get to go do and commit to the main strategies.
Like in this game, Giel looked like a bit like more focused and more like having an actual game plan and how to approach the matchup. So if he finds the Beast Energy and Diancie early again, he might be able to do this again, like doing early knockouts and just win by being faster than Goncalo.
Yep, so prize cards for Goncalo are actually really inconvenient because there are 3 ball searches in there. And that means getting to the turn 2 Vika Vault, which his deck is so reliant on, is going to be that little bit more difficult.
It is.
But he does get to start double grub. But unfortunately, his hand doesn't look good.
It doesn't, no.
Yeah, I think that's going to be attached to a grub in.
Oh, that's
there we go. He has the Stevens.
Yeah.
So
the typical turn 2 Rayquaza Vika Vault, maybe.
Yeah, so Stevens lets you resolve, lets you search your deck for 3 cards and add them to your hand, but immediately ends your turn. So outside of the first turn, it's taking your attack away from you.
Yeah, it is.
Except for there's that Metagross, which lets you keep your turn, but that's a weird card anyway. So what we see with Stevens' resolve is he will probably have something along the lines of something to attack with, a Vika Vault, and a Ray Candy.
Or maybe a draw support.
Might likely a draw support, given his current hand looks a little bit dead outside of. Yeah, I think there's a good number of energy in that hand.
At least 2 more lightning energies.
So Goncalo has made his decision. We see Cynthia, I think that was Ray Candy, and the Vika Vault.
Thing is, like, Goncalo will try to avoid putting down any Lele if he can.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be way harder for Giel to take early knockouts or big swing arounds.
Yeah, there's no way of kind of tilting the prize rate back again. You know, in these kinds of matchups, especially having missed the Beast energy for the first turn and having no draw supporter for Giel, it looks more likely that we see something like
The Shaman again.
Shaman come down. It seems more likely that we get a kind of odd setup in this game. Sort of having to decide where he puts his energy. I guess he was kind of expecting the Grubbin to get knocked out that turn. He was expecting the Beast energy in Diancie because, well, it seems like Giel has it every time otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has opened the Beast energy in both games so far.
Yeah.
So he's probably like, okay, assuming he does it again, we should do this. The fresh hand gets
Shining Lugia.
Shining Lugia, strong charge. Remind me if Flippity Flap is a colorless attack or a grass attack.
I think it's a grass attack.
So what we could have seen is probably an attachment to the active Grubbin, or we could just attach to the Shining Lugia. Yeah, he's just going to attach to the Shining Lugia. He's okay with the idea of the active Grubbin being knocked out because he does already have the Vika Vault on the bench.
He has to find the Diancie Prison Star though, otherwise he won't take the knockout on the Grubbin. So
yeah, both players now having to hit particular cards pretty early. There's only the one item in the discard pile so far for Goncalo. So Giel's like, did you play loads? Oh no, I can't just trash lunch for this game. Oh no, this is gonna be a problem. We just see switch, Sneasel moving in, and a Lily for a few cards.
3, I think. 4.
You know, Giel giving himself some more options, playing the switch down because he knows for well that he can just attach and retreat the Sneasel.
Mm-hmm.
Nest balls.
Maybe another Buzzwole, or
maybe
setting up Trubbish, or an own Guru.
If he believes he can play his hand down low enough next turn, he can then get the and obviously get to the Macago. So if he's playing something like you've got the DC, the Ultra Ball, in hand, you can kind of thin his hand down, start kind of controlling his draws, which gives him kind of exactly the piece he wants at all times.
Mm-hmm. So Giel's opting to attach another energy to the Buzzwole, since like last game, the big swing around turn was really important for him.
And actually, what we see here though as well is that he's filled his bench. And there's no Diancie on it, which means his damage is 30. But otherwise, on that Buzzwole, it's kind of not going to be doing enough to take many knockouts. And Goncalo here, opting to bench the Lele, he would prefer to avoid benching any GXs in this matchup, but takes the Lele, the Guzma, takes the strong charge.
Probably for Lugia and doing a knockout on the Buzzwole, I assume.
I think that might be his game plan because he knows that he's only played the single item, which means the Garbodor can sit there all day long. He doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And he can start taking a few knockouts here and there instead, and kind of start doing his game plan that we saw from game 1 of here is the Lugia, it's just going to keep taking knockouts, you have to deal with this.
It brings Giel to a very awkward position. Like there's only 2 more abilities in play, so Weeghmans is not doing too much, even with Kukui it's not enough, so...
Yeah, this kind of tricky spot where...
And Goncalo hasn't played like 1 item or something, like the 1 rare candy. So
yeah, the Garbodor's not doing anything. The Weevel's really not going to be doing too much either. He might just find the turn to go, okay, the Sudowoodo is kind of nice. I'm mostly here for the Zoroark matchup, but I guess I'm just going to let you take it. He did draw the Weavile that turn. He did just top deck into the Weavile.
But I think he don't have the energy for it.
And even then, he'd have to be Guzmaring to be able to take a knockout with it. So we see the instructor for a single card.
And there's the
Diancie. You can see the little head tilt of like, oh, thanks. I could have wanted you earlier on. Could have KO'd the Grubbin that's on the bench with 30 instead.
Well past that.
Just a pass.
On the other side, Gonzalo's board is pretty much set up how we want it to be.
Yeah, he could make the choice to do something along the lines of strong charge, get the extra energy, one out ready on the Shaman. So in the event that this Shining Lugia is knocked out, he has his attacker and kind of his revenge turn prepared. He can also just declare Argent Wing this turn to take the knockout because Sudowoodo does have the ability, roadblock. But the escape rope being played, I like this. You can see that last turn Goncalo set up for this by attaching the single energy in certain places, so he can basically control.
Yeah, so it's like
it's a one-sided.
Giel has to make a move, and then Goncalo can react to it.
Yeah, so it means that he already had the thing effectively with not free retreat, but the retreat cost prepaid basically.
So I think maybe he's going for another Vika Vault or setting up another attacker, either one of those. So.
Well, he can't set up the other attacker until the Sudowoodo is dealt with. His board is full under roadblock, so he can't actually bench this. This Shining Lugia cannot be benched. If someone wants to go, just call that. This is Shining Lugia.
No, they're fixing it.
Yeah, there we go. They call it. It's Nest Ball, so we can't actually play the Nest Ball.
So at this point, he had like a free search in his deck, but he would play.
He would have searched anyway because he was going to be
strong charge. Yeah,
strong charge. So it'd be there may be some form of warning or.
I think so. Yeah.
In this case, it's not too serious a prize penalty. Kind of event. He was Volknering anyway, so he just takes the Nest Ball. He has to hold it, but that's not actually a bad thing because it just means that next turn, in the event of a knockout, he can just Nest Ball, grab the next Shining Lugia, keep going.
Yeah.
And yep, there's just another Aeroforce. Really efficient attack in these decks that do have an ability way of kind of accelerating energy to get to the full cost in the first place. Discarding 1 for 130 on a non-GX attack is actually pretty nice.
And Shining Lugia is just so bulky with the 130 HP and with the fighting resistance.
Yeah, there's really kind of no kind of like lightning types in the format that can hit it for weakness, so most decks just can't actually hit it that hard. And even if Zoroark wanted to knock it out, it would require finding things like the Devoured Field or the Kukui. It's just outside of their range as well. So that was actually a really big turn for Giel because he managed to Guzma out the Vika Vault, make the most of his Sledgehammer having extra damage and taking the knockout.
So he has 2 rare candy in hand, but he has no Vika Vault as I see. But if he attaches and just draws a prize, maybe he's going for the Vika Vault prize.
I think the order he's been taking them, it would be the Vika Vault.
Yeah.
So either way, he can actually afford to not play anything. Well, I think that was a glance over the prize cards. Like, there is a Vika Vault over there.
I mean, he doesn't know that, of course, but
he doesn't know which one it is. But
like drawing in order, it should be like.
Yeah, it would be the one he would take next. In fact, when he takes this knockout in this turn, he's probably going to go, so I was drawing that anyway, thanks. And we see Giel is actually going to be in a really tricky spot again because he's out of Buzzwole's Sledgehammer range.
This is like one of the first times we actually see the Rayquaza in Gonzalo's deck.
He hasn't drawn it.
Yeah, it's like 2 of them in hand. So
he hasn't actually drawn into it, and he has the energies for next turn already. So he actually doesn't need the Vika Vault because this Shining Lugia is going to be kind of hard to deal with.
Once it has 4 energies on it, you can just like attach for turn and you're good.
And there's no way it's getting one hit knocked out. The Weeghmans would only hit for 50. And nothing else on the Giel side of the board is really an attacker. So
and once he tries to set up like a big swing around turn, Goncalo can Guzma. Just bring that up and knock out the Buzzwole.
Yeah, and even if he does manage to take the knockout, there is already the Shaman on the bench threatening the knockout in return.
Yeah, it is.
So there's the Guzma on the next Grubbin. Stick it in the active. Hope that Goncalo doesn't have a way of switching his own back out. I do see a Vika Vault in hand.
Yeah, he drew from the prize card.
Yeah, so if he can find the rare candy, he can just strong charge to the active Grubbin, retreat it.
And I think he has a Guzma in hand as well.
Oh, yeah, he already has the Guzma, so he doesn't even need that.
And he doesn't even have to attach an energy. He just can knock out the
Ansi or the Orangaroo
or the Sudowoodo.
Yeah.
All the
well, you can't because he'd have to retreat
sure.
to get to that one. But the ability to knock out the Oranguru, because we can see Giel has a very small hand size, and he's going to be kind of struggling to kind of.
He's kind of struggling to get what he needs since he has a bit of a lower hand size, like during the whole game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised here if the smooth over was for a draw supporter, just so he can kind of start drawing out of this kind of sticky situation.
He drew a judge. He smoothed over for a judge.
I kind of like that because Goncalo still needs cards.
Yeah, he does.
Manamar and Vika are two decks that can survive entirely on a board state, not just having hands and having to play cards every turn. If they are already set up, and Goncalo's not fully set up. If you can find a Rare Candy, I think that would change. I think you could consider the setup to be pretty perfect then. Down goes Weeghmans, moving down to just 2 prize cards between Goncalo and the final. And there's just nothing to attack with on Giel's side of the board.
Unfortunately, he does not play Fire Energy.
I mean, it would hit these Grubbins and this Shaman for weakness.
Yeah,
so,
it would.
No, I think Shaman may actually have a Lightning.
Since the Skyfall, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so this Shining Lugia, again, putting in a lot of work in these against these Budge Shrine decks. Maybe the big takeaway from this tournament is Makaga is super good because everyone's playing it. But also the Shining Lugia against these Budge Shrine decks, if you have a way of getting it set up, it's just going to put it work.
Yeah, it is.
So we see the judge, followed by a Nest Ball from Giel. Here, having to find something to attack with. But looking through his list, I don't know how many attackers he's really got left. He's been through the Sneasel. He's been through a couple of Buzzwole. I think he's still got a bit of, there's a few Trubbish, but I don't think Goncalo's played that many items. He's apparently only played 2. So to make it to this stage of the game and being this far ahead and having only played 2 items is pretty good deck management.
I think they have a little issue. I think like Giel played in Nest Ball, and he grabbed for his deck, looked at it, and then the judge was like, "Hold on a second."
Okay, so there'll be some form of thing. Can you go and see what the issue is for us? Thank you very much.
So maybe there was some kind of miscommunication.
Yeah, it's one of these things that these are moments where you can be kind of nervous. It could be a really simple mistake. We'll see what's happened here.
I mean, it's still a top 4 after all. So.
Yeah, top 4. There's a lot riding on it, especially because you're 1-1, and this is like a really big game. These players probably quite tired, and there's some form of discussion going on now to see what the situation is. It might be that he drew one too many cards or something, which would actually be really inconvenient because that would actually cost him the series because he only has the 2 prize cards left. But seems to be some form of debate going on now. The judges are there trying to resolve the issue. So we will find out hopefully
soon. Yeah.
Soon. So some form of discussion. So what's the situation?
I was told it was insufficient randomization.
Okay, so the shuffling wasn't enough after the judge. They're saying that it wasn't shuffled well enough.
Something like that.
Interesting. Okay.
So sometimes after like 9 rounds day 1, 5 rounds day 2, top 8, you're sometimes really tired and you're like, okay, so just shuffle a bit, and then sometimes it's not enough.
Yeah, especially trying to get through the game kind of quickly. You're used to playing 50-minute rounds, and that's gone. We've already had the 50. We're now into the time that is kind of extended just for top cut. And when you reach that point, it's kind of likely that you're like, oh, we're really toward the end of time. At least I'm not used to playing 75-minute rounds.
I mean, you should always make sure that your deck is properly shuffled.
Oh, of course.
But sometimes you just shuffle a bunch and it's not enough. You should do an extra shuffle or extra 2 shuffles or. So I think they're debating on what happens now.
So we will see. I do apologize about the delay in the game.
You were just waiting for the official ruling, or what the judges are deciding. So
yeah. So, what do you think Giel's route into this game would be? Like back into this match?
ooh, it's really hard for him because he has to either set up maybe a swing around, but Lugia is like doing too much damage. So by the time he sets up a swing around, Goncalo draws all his prizes. And then again, he has no attacker in play at this moment. He's only support Pokemon in play. So
the ruling is being delivered now. So we'll find out what happens. We've just been told that in the other matchup in the top 4, it was Hampus who won with Sylveon.
So Hampus in the final.
Yeah, so he managed to beat the Malamar Lugia deck. So that was probably a really interesting series. So the winner of this will go on to face Sylveon, and I think that will be Goncalo. I believe that was a prize penalty. And that is the end of the top 4 games for us, guys. So we do have a little bit of time, but I think we'll skip the interview because I think we want to give the players some time to prepare for the final.
Yeah, sure.
It wouldn't be fair to interview just one of them. We'll give them a little break. So we will be back with you. I'll update the bracket in a moment. And we'll be back with you hopefully really soon for the final.
Yeah, as soon as possible.